Guys, gosh, I'm late. Gosh, I'm late. Very, very late today. I do apologise. Good morning, guys. I'm sorry if you've been waiting and wondering where on earth I was. Don't ask. Don't ask. Honestly. The random things I get up to. I really should do a behind the scenes, behind getting ready for the live, because they are so comical, honestly. So the reason why I'm a little bit late today coming on live is because I spotted the biggest cat I have ever seen on the fence checking out next door's chickens. So I had to run round and knock on next door's door, but they went in. So we're trying to shoo this cat, but this cat was not bothered. So yeah, I'm having one of those mornings, so I'm sorry I'm late. I knew I was going to be late. I was actually ready. But then a cat the size of a tiger just walked through the garden that I've never seen before. And he was, eyeing up those chickens. And they are very beautiful chickens as well. So I couldn't just leave there. I wouldn't have been able to do the live, would I, with my eyes on this huge cat. Anyway, cat's gone. Chickens are all alive. There's still 3 chickens, so we're all okay. So we can carry on with our live this morning. Crazy, crazy. Just the way it is. It always seems to be like this. Right, so I'm just getting myself organised. Excuse me. Cheers to you all. Over 3's Thursday. Ching ching. That is a whopping mug of tea, isn't it? I think I'm going to need it today. We've got one of those days where it's literally back to back, running from one job to another. Chicken licking time, of course. It's a good link, isn't it? That's a great story, chicken licking. Can only watch 5 minutes. Don't worry, just watch what you can. That's absolutely fine. So we're going to get started. As always, I'm going to mention that I have my number and letter play prompts for lots of ways to play with numbers and letters as your child is starting to show an interest. So they are available on the website, but you know that, don't you? And they contain lots of activities with no pressure. It's not about sitting down and learning. It's about play and absorbing them in a what we call like a number-rich environment and a writing-rich environment, and so they are the number and letter play prompts. Can you tell my mind's all over the place this morning? That cat just threw me today. Also, didn't help that I gave you the vote. I gave you the choice of for over 3's Thursday to do shapes or writing today. Then I saw that people who were voting for shapes went out, did some errands, mad dash, came back in, thought I was ready for my activity, checked the poll, and it changed from to writing. So you threw me there, guys, so I quickly had to grab the writing things instead. So you obviously couldn't make up your mind this morning, which is fine. We can do shapes another day, can't we? So this morning what I'm going to talk to you about is the stages of writing, of what to expect at the different stages of as your child is learning to write and developing a love of writing, because it's a really exciting time. And it's really lovely to watch them as they build their confidence, believing that they are a writer, which is fantastic. And of course is an essential life skill, isn't it? So we're going to go on. I've made my notes today because I don't want to forget anything. On the back of an envelope, as always. What's on the back of this side? That's the starting school one. Professional as always, aren't I? Anyway, I need my notes because I don't want to forget what I'm saying. So we're going to get started because I want to crack on, and we've got swimming today, so I've got to dash off to that afterwards. I'm going to feel very much like a teacher today because I've got my whiteboard and pen, back to the teaching days, so just that I can demonstrate it for you so you can visualise what I'm talking about. So basically, we're talking about writing. We're talking about encouraging our children to have a love of writing, and no matter what they put down on paper, it's about praise. It's about giving them loads and loads and loads of praise. Just like I was saying yesterday, it's about making them believe that they can write, that they can write whatever they want. And it's just the same as when they're doing their numbers or when they're doing the reading. It's about giving them praise and boosting their confidence. You can do this. We can do this. That's absolutely fine. Give them loads of praise, and whatever they put on paper, loads and loads of praise. It's not necessarily like, oh, well, it doesn't quite look like, and that doesn't look like an S, does it? We've done it backwards. And yeah, we don't want any of that. It's all, oh, fantastic. This is great. I can see you've done this. I can see you've had a go at this. I can see, all the praise, all the running commentary like we do with our play, with our numbers, all that sort of stuff. So let's get started. So first of all, the first stage of writing is what we call making marks, or also known as scribbles. So you may see your little one starting just exploring with a pen, exploring with both hands of just making marks on paper. They might not have any meaning, they may have meaning. And it's just about exploring and making marks. And this stage is brilliant. This stage is vital. So we don't want to skip this stage. We want them, get them making marks. It can be pencils, crayons, felt tips on paper. It can be chalks. It can be painting with water. It can be doing great big painting outside on an old roll of paper, doing some great big marks out there. It could be, I don't know if you've seen, you can get the chunky chalks for outside. You can also get crayons that are like the shapes of eggs. So they're nice, so they're brilliant, because we're talking about, you know, maybe one to 2 year olds that are maybe starting to show an interest, probably more likely to the turning 2 stage, wanting to pick things up and just having a go at making marks. And they may just be making marks, but those marks are pretty important and they are fantastic. So lots of praise for those marks. Even though they look like scribbles, they are making marks. They are starting to realise that they can actually make their own marks and that they can control them. They can't quite control their hands yet, but they're learning that they are able to make the marks basically on the paper. They may tell you that it means something, they may not. Probably not at this stage, but it's fine if they do. All fantastic, and yet, like I said, lots and lots of praise, keep them going. Just the same as if they have a big blob of paint on the paper and they use their finger to draw in it, making marks. They're doing fingerprints, making marks. If they've got some bean juice left over on their high chair tray or on their plate and they're drawing in it, and oh, I'm doing some writing, making marks. It's all fantastic. So it doesn't have to be, writing doesn't have to be pen on paper, never, ever, ever. It can be in any old form. It's all about just understanding about making marks, using their hands. And again, like I said before, about using both hands. When they, it's not until, well, what they say is it's not until young children start school, so we're looking at like 4 or 5 year olds. Good morning, I'm already in the flow, Ellen. Good morning. It's when children are normally starting school that then they will choose a dominant hand for holding a pen, using scissors, using a paintbrush, that sort of thing. But there's no reason why you can't mix it up and get them using both. It's all fantastic. So particularly while they're really young, well, they're 2 and they maybe are using those chunky chalks, get them using both hands. And this is when it's a brilliant stage. This and the next, let's go on to the next stage before I carry on. So yeah, it's all about them making marks. Fantastic. Right, so let's just clean the whiteboard. And then the next stage, oh, I've kicked a rubbish rubber. Thought this was going to work. One moment, guys. Not quite the blue Peter I was hoping for. Okay, not the best pen that I picked to do this. Okay, and then, so the next stage, so going from those marks is then we might start to see, again, it's still called scribbles, but it's more of the doing this. Can you see that? I'm going across the paper. I'm possibly going left to right. It might be just anywhere. It might be just some marks anywhere. But you may start to see more of the scribbling. And this may be the stage where they're watching you and they're copying whatever you're doing. And it's just making some marks on the paper. It might be going from left to right, which is brilliant. And it's just getting them in the habit, and they may just be starting to make marks and fill the paper with lots of different scribbles. And they think they're writing. They believe that they are writing. So that is brilliant. And you praise them as though they have written a whole story. So fantastic. Look at that. Look at your writing. Haven't you done well? I can see you were holding the pen. I can see you were holding the paper. You were having a really good go. That is brilliant. And they're having a go at writing. It might be their shopping list. It might be a story. They may be doing tickets in the role play area. They may be doing a post office. But you might start to see these scribbles going from one side to the other. Brilliant. They believe that they're writing. So in which case you must praise them as though they are. Brilliant. I love the marks that you're making. I can see you've been doing loads of writing. That's also loads and loads of praise. And again, at this stage, like I say, marks can come from different stages. So we're looking at that from 2 to 3. Someone's asking what age you would expect to see that. We'd normally say from 2 to 3. Like I said, it's really hard to put an age on it because you know that all children develop at different stages and develop in their own way. So, you know, if you've got a 4-year-old who's not picking up a pen, don't panic. Don't panic. It's okay. Or you may have a 2-year-old that's doing marks already. Brilliant. Fine. It's okay. But children will do it at their own stage. But we are saying, we're looking at 2 to 3 that we're making scribbles. We may start be putting meaning to it. We may start saying, oh, what they say, or they may even have a go at pretending to read it to you. I am going to go to the shops and I am going to buy apples and bananas and bread. Fantastic. They believe that they have written something that they can read, which is a fantastic skill. So just like I said, they believe it's writing. If they believe they are reading their writing, fantastic. You praise them as though they are. So fantastic. That's great. Yeah. Is it good to ask them to tell you what they think they have written, or are they just mimicking? I would try not to. It's hard because I've talked about this before. It's because quite often, if pretend that my little boy Mason brought this to me and I said, oh, fantastic, what does it say? And so by saying to him, what does it say? It's putting him on the spot, and it's making him think he needs to tell me an answer that I want to hear. So he may just make something up because he's going to tell me something that he thinks that I want to hear. So he may something. In his head, while he was doing it, he may have been thinking something else. So really, by asking him that, we're not gaining much. But I don't know if you can remember, I've talked about it before, about doing the comments. 4 comments before you ask a question. So try and comment. It's really hard. I know it's really hard. And particularly when you're on the spot, it's so hard to not say, what does it say? Try and comment. Comment before you question. And the reason why we do that is by doing the full comments, more often than not, children will then butt in and tell you what it says, or tell you what they believe it says before you've even got to your question. So it's a really great way of encouraging them to communicate and engage in a conversation about their work with you. So you may say, I love that you found a quiet place to do your writing. I love the fact that you were very careful, the way that you held your pen. I thought it's fantastic the way I could hear you saying what you were writing. You know, by the time you got to number 4, they're going to say, well, actually, do you know what, Mummy? It's because it says this, and I wanted to sit over there because it's nice. And, you know, and quite often they will come out with it before you've even got to your question anyway. So I hope that helps. Like I say, with all these things, don't forget that people are qualified. People study this for working with children, so it doesn't come naturally. It is tricky. I'm just trying to give you an insight into some of the key things that you can do at home. It is a skill. It is tough. I find it hard, and I have lots of experience doing it. So don't worry. I know it may be new to some people. It may not be, but yeah, just please don't worry about it. But it can be tough. It's just that just the praise. The praise is the best thing. The praise, and just doing a running commentary of what you think they're doing and what you like about what they're doing. Because again, it just shows that you value what they put on the paper. It shows them that you think what they put on that paper was fantastic. So it's all about that. And it's just like if Mason was playing Post Officers, it's about me valuing his play. As long as he thinks that I think his play is brilliant. But you know, young children want to please us, don't they? He's just coming in, and I'm just checking he's got clothes on. He has. So he may come to say hello because I'm talking about him. You saying hello? We're having a sulk. We're having a sulk? Are we okay? You can say good morning? Mm-hmm. What? Okay, go do the computer control.
I'm going to put some color
Okay, good boy. He wants to pretend to fix the controller. Okay, so I hope this is making sense. Where did we get up to? So we were talking about doing the scribbles across the page, perhaps putting meaning to it, perhaps not, mimicking you, copying you, which is fine. And again, at this stage, you know, as your child is starting to show a little bit of an interest in writing, they may not. Don't worry if they're not showing an interest in writing. Some children, it's just not for them. However, at this stage, 2, 3, show them when you're writing. Let them see you write. If you want a child who has a passion for writing, who is positive about writing, that sort of stuff, don't worry, Sadie, it will be saved. You can skip back. There's quite a lot I'm covering today. Yeah, let them see you writing. Let them see. I know it's so easy. I do my shopping list on my phone because it's always with me. But trying to get into the habit of doing a shopping list on paper so they can actually see you do it and actually handwriting things. let them see you writing thank you cards, let them see you writing a note for the milkman, you know, that sort of thing. I'm just going to write this note, I'm just going to write a list, just going to write a thank you letter, just let them see you write, just the same as I was saying the other day, Baby Blowing Monday, about reading. If you want a child who is positive about reading, a reading rich home, they need to see you read, they need to see that you read recipe books to find out what to do for dinner, they need to see that you read, and you've got to be over the top, you've got to make a point of saying it to them, but I'm just going to read this, and I'm just going to read this magazine to find, I'm just going to have a look in here and see if I can read about where we're going to go today, that sort of thing. It's just all really helps them and shows them that there is a purpose for the reading and there is a purpose for the writing. Okay? So as I was saying before, we were talking about the 2-3 sort of stage where we were getting scribbles, we were getting like scribbles across the paper. At this stage, this is a really great stage for, I was telling you about getting children to write with both hands and that sort of stuff. Not only that, it's about getting them to use their body, lots of physical exercise, lots of going to the park, lots of riding trikes, lots of climbing, all this, lots of crawling is just as good. Lots of big movements. It's all about using both arms, all the upper body, because it all helps. And just the same as getting outside with 2 wet paintbrushes or 2 wet sponges or 2 wet brushes and making big circular movements and making zigzag movements and making lines going across and making lines go up and down and then doing dots. And all those sorts of marks are the kind of marks that make up our letters. So if we practice them when we're young, doing them really, really big, as they get older, they will get really, really small until they get to the stage where they're holding a pen and we're making those circles, we're making the lines, we're making the zigzags, that sort of stuff. Someone's asking, what age should they start to draw more using one specific hand? Now, they do say that most children aren't normally hand dominant until they are 4 or 5. That's what they say. Personally, I found that my little boy Mason has always used his right hand for most things, but I still encourage him to use both anyway before starting school. So I would still encourage both, but you may see that your child picks up a pen, picks up scissors, feeds themselves with one specific hand, but still try and swap it around and encourage them to do both. But they do say about 4 that you wouldn't normally see a specific hand just for writing. Okay, so we've gone from those marks. So like I was saying, all those big marks, get outside, get them doing all that, just like doing aerobics and exercises and all that sort of stuff. Get them using because it's just vital for when they're older. And like I said, they will learn to control their body until it's smaller and smaller, until it's pen to paper. My little one is 4 and refers to his hands as the hard one and the easy one. Brilliant, that's good, isn't it? He's already recognising that he finds one much. So that's quite a good way of saying that let's try and practice. Let's see if we can do it with the other hand. Let's see if we can help the other hand to make it a bit easier for the other hand and see if we could get that one working as well. That sort of stuff is all really brilliant. Okay, so we've gone on for the scribbles. Now we're moving on to a stage where you may see, there may be some scribbles and then there may be some mock letters. So these are where they think they're making the marks and they think they look like letters, but they might not. But they may look very similar, but they might not. Sorry, YouTube just shut itself down. Never mind. Don't know what's going on there. So you may see things like little circles. You may see sort of little triangle shapes. All those shapes that I've just said about doing the big ones. Perhaps circles, perhaps some sort of big zigzags. Sorry, I'm not doing this very well. Big zigzags, lines. You might see some sort of like square shapes or thinking that it's really hard. It's really hard doing examples of not doing letters without writing letters. But just, you know what I mean, that they're starting to, can you see, they're starting to sort of make the shapes of letters and they may believe that they look like letters. So these are mock letters. You may also notice, so there may be some scribbles in between and then they may actually have a go at doing some letters as well. And for this stage, we are looking at 3 to 4 for this sort of writing or mark making. And at this stage, you may also see that your little one will put in, or will have a go at putting in key letters. So letters of interest to them. So for example, my little boy Mason, the M in Mason is really important to him. It's something that he picks out wherever we go, just like the H on the helipad, because he's vehicle obsessed. So we're looking for H's a lot at the minute, and actually H's are quite a nice one to do. And this is where quite often you see children doing capital letters. Capital letters are much easier for young children to draw because they are nearly all straight lines. They're very easy to do. You see with just simple marks that they can do lots of things with in straight lines and stuff. So you may see letters, and we also like d for daddy, and Ben is a Ben. So you may pick up on the odd pieces of writing, pieces of scribbles with lots of M's in it, and that's because that letter has meaning to them, and that's really important. And that's fantastic. And just like I said before, all the way through this, they believe it says something. If they believe it's writing, you believe it too, and you praise it as though it's writing. So fantastic. Oh, I spotted a M for Mason, all that sort of stuff. And at this stage, as they're starting to pick out the letters, this is when it's a really good time for you to start playing with sounds and playing with letters. So when they're having a bath, we do the whole splash, 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 splash. We do the whole bubbles, go pop, 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 pop. All that sort of stuff is just being really over the top with our sounds, because it all helps to when they get to the stage where they're having to go at writing letters, writing words, all the phonetics, and they're sounding it out. That Mason, Mason. I can hear a Mason. You really have to go over the top. So practice now with lots of songs, lots of different things. When you're in the car, I'm driving my car. It goes beep, 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 beep. Just loads and loads of playing around with words, all daft things. You feel daft, you feel silly, but if anyone asks what you're doing, you just say it's for the benefit of my child. And it's all really helpful. Would you recommend getting tracing books at this stage? Let them be. I'm smiling because I must confess. Right, hang on. So with the tracing books, if you want to buy tracing books, do you recommend letters or numbers first? Well, I'll come back to that one. Sorry. Oh, we're going to have to dash for swimming soon. I'm sorry. This might have to be a continued one, right into it. So someone's asking about the tracing books. If you want to do tracing books with your child, brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant, because I am never, ever going to stop someone from wanting to help their children with their learning. Brilliant. If you want to do that, that is absolutely fine. That is absolutely brilliant. I will always praise any parent, any carer who wants to sit with their child or wants to buy something that they will support their child's learning. However, personally for me, I'm not a massive fan of tracing books. And the reason is, particularly for young children, particularly for children before starting school, is more often than they're not, they're booklets and they can be quite small, and they're quite small letters or they're quite small numbers. And you often find that they're all capital letters too. So can you remember I said before about it's really important to introduce numbers, letters, capital letters and lowercase letters. But also, I find them quite restrictive. So brilliant if you're on a car journey, you're trying to pass the time and that sort of stuff. I just find them a little bit restrictive, because getting a young child to hold a pen is fantastic, but that's quite a skill, that's hard. And then if you imagine, so I'll do it on a large scale. So if you imagine, let's just do the number 1. Okay, so in my tracing book, it's got the number 1 like this, whatever. Okay, and your child might be at the stage where their number 1s are that big, or their number 3s are like this big, and more often than not, the 3s in the books are this big. Do you see what I mean? So it's really hard for them. It's a real skill. They might not have that hand control just yet to be able to draw a number 3. So it's not wrong. The fact that they're doing their 3 this size is not wrong whatsoever. However, if a tracing book is full of 3s this side, they're going to feel like they can't do it because they're struggling to they haven't got the hand control to get on top of those dots. And they may end up like this. It doesn't look like what they want it to look like. And then they can become frustrated and feel like it's wrong. It's not wrong. They're just not at the stage yet of being able to do their 3s that big. They're at the stage of still doing them this big. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. Anybody? Brilliant. Yeah, someone's saying that we practice on whiteboards with chunky pens. I'd much rather that, because then they've just got that bit more freedom that they can do it at the size and the way that they want to do it, rather than feeling I feel like it's quite restrictive. Do you know what I mean? It's quite restrictive. It's like wrong or right, and actually a 3 that big is fantastic. It's not wrong. Yeah, you get it? Okay, thank you. That explains why my son gets frustrated with the books. Yeah, so can you see why I would never put anyone off buying those books or doing those books with their children, because it's all good intentions, and anyone with the best intentions supporting their child's learning is amazing, and I will always praise someone for doing that. It's just there's other ways that you can do it. So in that case, as someone was saying, a whiteboard like this, you can get these in the pound shop. They're flimsy, they're not going to last much longer than a journey or so. Getting some sort of whiteboard, chalkboards, that sort of thing, are much more effective. I would much rather use something like this than tracing, if that's okay. Then someone else was asking about numbers. Would I introduce numbers or letters? I do both. I'd always do both. When we're out and about, I'd point out the numbers on a bus, but I'd also point out the letters on a sign or that sort. You may have, I don't know what Mason's into at the minute. Bit of both. It's namely everything being an M for Mason or H for helicopter pad. But he does also like some numbers. But you may find that some children, when he first learned the M for Mason, that was it. We picked that out everywhere. So they may have a preference for one or the other. However, I'd still introduce both. I'd have magnetic letters and numbers. I'd have, try and do a balance. And like I said, about the letters, do capitals and lowercase. Right guys, I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to finish there because I've got to dash and get Mason to swim in. I think we're going to have to come back to this, aren't we? Because we've not got through all the stages. So that's mainly, let's see if I can whiz through the stages. Let's get through the next bit, and then I'll put some photos on today. I'm just going to show you some resources that are really great of things that you can put together. Okay, my little boy loves reading speed signs. Okay, right, this is coming on to this bit. Chloe, you'll like this bit. Your little one might like this bit. Okay, so we've gone from the scribbles, we've done the mock letters, and then you might see them starting to put some letters together. So you might start seeing just lots of strings of letters. These are like letter strings, where they're just writing lots of letters and making it into a string, and they're just having a go. Again, it might not be the right letters for his name or for what he's writing in his ice cream shop, whatever, but it might just be lots of strings of letters, and again, they believe that they're writing, so that's fantastic. Can you recommend interactive learning games on the next video? Interactive learning games. What do you mean by that? Do you mean electronic ones, Michelle? To let me know what you mean by that one. Do you mean electronic games like iPads and stuff? Okay, I need to get going because I'm going to be late. It's all right. We're always late. They know it now. I have to literally he has actually got his swimming shorts on. That was me being organised for once today because I knew I was going to be late for this one. Okay, so you're starting to get the letter strings where you see lots of letters, and then the next stage you may often start seeing is that when they've drawn a picture, that they may start labelling it. So this is the sun, and they may start to be putting, and normally what we call the initial letter, the first letter, to label it, but you may start seeing that they either put in their name or on his tablet, please. Do you know what, Michelle? I did a post ages ago. You'll really have to scroll down if you can, and it was on iPad games, and loads of people put loads of different ones on, and it was really useful, so I'll see if I can find it for you. Probably won't do it in a live video because it's a bit boring, isn't it, to watch, but there is a post out there, Michelle, so I'll find it for you. All right. So yeah, so the next stage is that you may see pictures, and they may start labelling them, particularly if it's pictures of the family and they want to have a go at doing the letters to label who they are, or the house, or the cars, and that sort of stuff. Okay. Then the next one is a vital one, and it's brilliant. And then I'm going to finish, and then I'm going to race out the door like you've never seen anything before. That rhymed. The next one is when they see, like someone was just saying before about seeing speed signs or seeing the dreadful golden arches and knowing that says McDonald's, you know, seeing the Asda sign and seeing that and knowing that it says Asda. They're going to start recognising things in the environment, words and numbers in their environment, and they're going to know what the meaning is. And that is the first stage, one of the first stages of reading, which is brilliant. They're recognising that those letters put together have a word, have a meaning, which is fantastic. So if they do see the arch and it's like, oh, it says McDonald's, That's actually brilliant. That's actually brilliant because they're linking that that logo or that word has a meaning. So that's fantastic. But you might also notice that your little one may start copying things. So example, I've got a London book here. Mason may, he's not at this stage yet, we're looking at 4-year-olds now. He may then copy and have a go at copying words around him. So he may have notepads and seeing labels on foods or on his cereal or books, and they may start picking them out and actually copying them, which is brilliant. And again, another stage of the writing. Lots of copying things that they're seeing around them because they're starting to notice those words. They're starting to notice that those words have meaning, and they know that Kellogg's means it's their cereal, or you know, that sort of thing. And so they want to copy them and have a go at writing. And then they'll tell you that they've written London. And you're like, oh my goodness, he wrote London. Wow, how did he do that? But brilliant, amazing. I love that you thought of getting the book. It was a brilliant idea that you've had a go. And I can really see the letter that you copied, that sort of thing. Loads and loads of praise. And then we move on to like writing phonetically, but I think we've got to go on to that another stage because I can talk for hours about that. Okay, I'm very sorry it's been a long one, guys. There was just a lot to say. I've always got a lot to say. I don't know what happened to YouTube. Thank you very much for joining in. I'm sorry that I've spoken at the speed of light, being like hurled all this information at you. It will be saved on Facebook, and then I'll have to save that onto YouTube. But please, please feel free to go back and watch it if there's anything that you missed or I've skimmed something. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very, very much, as always. It is so interesting, isn't it? It's so interesting. I'm glad that you guys, I just find it fascinating. And this is why I do what I do, because it's just, and when you watch those different stages coming, and your little one today might do something, they might do the mock letters, or they may pick something out in the environment and be like, yeah, Claire said that, yeah. Maybe she does know what she's talking about sometimes. All right, have a lovely day. I will do some posts later about things, getting kids writing, some resources and stuff that you can use, but I've got a manic day today, so we'll just have to see how we get on. Please send me any photos, anything like that. What's your name on Instagram? It's play.hooray. Come and find me. Thank you very much, everybody. Send me a fun mail. Have a lovely day. See you later. Bye.